Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as promised, I will be bringing you more of Chanel's fall collection. I am going to be doing a full review of Chanel's Baroque palette. We're going to be creating different looks with this, so I'm really interested to see how that's going to turn out. I also did purchase the new blush out of the Equinox collection. I did purchase one of the blushes, so I will be doing a full review on that. Before we get into today's review, I hope you will consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. My ultimate goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I hope you will help me out with that. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's review. First, I'm going to get into the blush. So I will go ahead and leave timestamps down below. So if you guys are more interested in the review of the Baroque palette, then you can go ahead and skip directly to there. But otherwise, I am going to go ahead and review this blush. So this is number 798 in Beige Rose Et Mauve. And when I first saw this collection, this was the blush that I wanted. I already knew I didn't want the coral one. I don't know, there's something about this blush that really interested me more than the coral one. So of course it has this half moon shaped brush that I don't think anybody really ever uses, but I guess if you are traveling, then it's kind of good to have. All right, and here is the blush. It is gorgeous. It really is. I love the embossment on there. It has leaves, so it's a very fall-like palette, and also really small detail, but I do like the fact that they have leaves on the box itself. I know it's just a box, but usually I actually keep the boxes with the palette. That's how I store them. So when you have a box that has something really unique about it, it's kind of easy to store it and know that this is this particular palette, or otherwise they all look the same. This palette looks so stunning. It has a gorgeous embossment. As you can see, there are leaves right all over the palette. And then in the middle, it's the beautiful CC logo, and that is where the rose comes from. Really pretty. I did try to swatch both of the shades in this palette, the gorgeous mauve shade as well as the rose. Now it is kind of difficult to just use one of the blushes alone, but here's both of them, and of course combined will create such a beautiful look. I did do a full review of these loose eyeshadows in my previous video. I will go ahead and link that as well. But for today, because I really wanted to use this blush with a full kind of the fall collection itself, I did apply one of the loose eyeshadows. This one is number 412. It's the darker one that I purchased, and there is a trick with these. So if you recall, and if you did watch the previous video, I did mention that there was a little bit of fallout when using it directly out of the applicator, but all you really need to do is once you pull the applicator out, make sure you tap it, and that way you tap the axis and then apply it on, and that'll get rid of any kind of fallout that could happen. So I think this eyeshadow is beautiful alone. In my previous review, I did use the lighter shade and kind of blended this on the exterior corner of my eye. But today I just kind of used just the one shade. I don't have any mascara on because I will be using the Baroque palette, so I'm going to be removing a lot of makeup and I didn't want it to get messy. Now let's try this blush. So I'm going to just swirl it, kind of get both shades together. That's how it's meant to be used. Tap the excess, and I do like to tap it on the back of my hand just because this looks really pigmented and I know we can build it up. Ooh, pretty. I know that a lot of you might be thinking that because this includes a mauve type of shade, it might look like a bruise on the skin. But if blended correctly and used sparingly as well as building up the shade, it really doesn't. It looks gorgeous. I am definitely glad I purchased this over the coral, and the coral does look beautiful, but these are very expensive. So really, sometimes we just have to choose one. Do we have shades like this in our collection? I'm sure everybody does, especially those that really love makeup and are beauties just like I am. But there's just something about this palette and just the combination of the shades Okay, so here is the blush. Now I did apply more than I would usually apply. I really wanted the camera to pick up the shade so that you can really see what it looks like. And I think it looks really gorgeous. Out of the entire Equinox collection, I definitely highly recommend the blush. I think we all kind of felt that to a certain extent. The loose eyeshadows are beautiful, they really are, but if you want to choose just one thing out of this collection, then I highly recommend the blush. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of the shades. I think the coral one is also very beautiful. I did see swatches and also other influencers applying them, and I think that they look so stunning on pretty much all skin tones. And I don't know, I just really felt that this darker one really called my name, and I don't regret purchasing it. Now let's get into the Baroque palette. So I was just playing with this palette, and for this video I really wanted to create two different looks, because this palette, even though it is the most unique out of this collection, it's also the most misunderstood. And I say that because most people, when they look at this palette, they say, oh, it's very beautiful. It kind of looks like a Christmas palette. It really does, just because of the shades. But at the same time, if used properly and correctly, this can be a very stunning palette. Here are the swatches of the colors. As you can see, this can be very much a circus if not used properly. They kind of seem like colors that wouldn't really match together, that you can't really create a full look by using all of the shades. And by no means do you have to use all of the shades, and I will show you that in a second. But I'll also include the swatches in natural sunlight as well, so that you can get a better look of the shades. And just a comparison between both of these palettes that I purchased from this collection, you'll notice that both of them have this white type of a highlight shade. They are both very different. In the Baroque palette, the highlight shade is quite chunky. The glitter is thicker, beautiful, but in the other palette, the crystals are a lot smaller. They're more finely milled, and I think for each one of these palettes and for what is kind of needed to create the look, if you want to use the whole palette, it was necessary to do that for both of them. But I think both of these shades are very pretty. For the first look that I have on right now, this is a very subtle type of look, an everyday type of look. It's something that everyone would really appreciate and feel that it's very easy and wearable, and just something that's very flattering. The way I achieve this look is, first I use the Crystal palette. Now with this, I use this brown shade, and I believe that if you love makeup, everyone is going to have this kind of shade. So it's very easy. If you want the Baroque palette only, then just use any kind of brown that you have and put that in your crease. Just lightly shade it, give it that beautiful type of elongated look to your eyes. This is going to be a base. Next, I went into this gorgeous green shade. Now, even though I do have a shade similar to this in my collection, this one is really different, and I will show you some swatches in a second. But I went ahead and just used this and lined my eye pretty much. So just right underneath and above, used it as a liner, and I feel like it really made my eyes pop. I have brown eyes, and for those that have brown eyes and really want to use this palette, I think you will find that this is going to look so pretty. It's going to really bring out your brown eyes, and I think that it is the best way to use this shade. I know that the red is very intimidating, so I left it out of this look for that very reason, but I will use it in a moment. So next, I picked up this really pretty gold shade, and I just patted very small amount onto the outer corner. Then I used this highlight shade and put that into my inner corner, and that really brought the entire look together. And I went ahead and blended everything so that it looks so seamless, no harsh edges, and I think it really created a very pretty look. If you have this palette, try it out. I think you will really learn to appreciate this palette if you kind of create this type of look. I just wanted to show you a different green shade. I do have this by Lisa Eldridge. This is the Sorcery palette, also a very pretty palette. And I just want to swatch this green next to the Chanel's Baroque palette. Okay, so this is Lisa Eldridge, and this is Baroque. Here's a side-by-side swatch of both palettes. This one is the Lisa Eldridge, and this is the Chanel's Baroque palette. And as you can see, they are different. So this one is somewhat darker, and Lisa Eldridge's is a little bit more metallic and lighter in tone. Just very different greens. Both very pretty and can create different looks just on their own. I just removed the first look, so let's go ahead and do a more intense look using this palette. I want to do something similar to the campaign that was advertised on Chanel's Instagram for this palette. So let's go ahead and go in to this red shade. And I know this red is really scary to apply. It can go completely wrong, but let's just go ahead and go right into it. Okay, very smooth. The shade really is not patchy at all, and reds are really hard to create. Some palettes that have reds, usually they're very patchy. With this one, very smooth. It's really easy to kind of blend into your skin. It kind of really melts in there, and it's a really pretty red as well. Next, I'm going to go right into the gold shade, and I'm going to use this as a liner. I just used the gold underneath my eyes as a liner, and I feel like it really opened up my eyes, very much so. Even this on its own is really pretty. I could just add kind of the white glitter kind of onto my eye and call it a day. That could be a look on its own. Maybe add a winged liner, and I think it would look really pretty. But let's go ahead and get into the green. I am going to use my finger, and I'm going to apply this all over my eye. A very buildable color, and I think it looks really pretty. It really does. I don't know, that red just gives that certain dimension to the green, and they just look so good together. I can just leave this look just the way it is and maybe add a winged liner, since I feel like this look is very bold, and a liner would look really stunning with it. But I'm going to use this highlight shade, and let's just add this kind of on the inner corner. Just use it ever so lightly. I don't want to take away from that bold green shade, but just a tiny little amount. As you can see, it just really accentuates the look, makes it look a little bit more glossy. Just really pretty. But either way, I feel like both sides look very pretty. All right, let's even out the makeup. Just a little bit. Not too much at all. I just added a wing liner off camera, and here is the finished bold look using the Baroque palette, and I think it looks really stunning. Out of both the crystal and the Baroque palette, I do see myself using the crystal palette more so, just because of course this is an everyday type of palette. It's really easy to use, it blends beautifully, the colors are gorgeous, but the Baroque palette, it's still very unique and so pretty, and I think that if used correctly, you can also really use this on a day-to-day basis. It really depends on what you're wearing. Whenever it comes to bold colors with eyeshadows, I love to use them as liners. I feel like it is the easiest way to kind of incorporate color into your eye look without going so extreme like this look here. That concludes my review on Chanel's new fall collection for this year. I think these are the most videos I've created for a collection from Chanel. I really haven't created this many videos for just one specific collection. but I really have been enjoying the collection this year. The fall collection is really gorgeous. There are so many good choices in these collections, and you don't necessarily have to buy everything. I feel like Chanel really intends it to be so unique, so diverse, in the sense that really everybody is different. So everybody's going to like different things, and they're really trying to cater towards that, and I love that. Just want to say a little bit more about the blush. I have been wearing it for the entirety of this video, and I feel like it's really stunning. It really kind of sinks into your skin after a little bit, and it just really looks so pretty. So I really highly recommend either one of the blushes from this year's fall collection. They're just really beautiful. If you don't have shades like this in your collection, these are limited edition, and out of everything that Chanel released for the fall collection, I would certainly go for one of these blushes. Based on the fall collection, I really can't wait to see what Chanel has in store for us for the holiday collection. I can't wait to see what kind of unique products they come out with, and I certainly will be reviewing them once they are released. If you were interested in any of Chanel's fall collection, I hope these videos really helped you out and kind of led you in the right direction on what you want to splurge on and what you want to pass on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.